Good morning. Welcome everyone for joining us. My name is Jennifer Barba and I'm a part of the Sloan admissions team here at the MIT Sloan School of Management. We'll get started in just a minute, but today's webinar is to help share some tips and a little more information about our Sloan Fellows MBA program, which is our executive MBA program. As you get started, we're going to type a few notes in the comments box. So if you have questions that come up along the way, feel free to type questions and we'll get to them as we cover each of the different topics. All right, I think we're ready to go. Again, my name is Jen Barba. I'm a part of the Sloan admissions team. I've had the pleasure of being here with the MIT Sloan School of Management for the past 15 years or so, and I currently oversee the evaluation process for all of our full-time master's programs here at the Sloan School. As I mentioned before, today's chat is going to focus on our Sloan Fellows MBA program. I'll give you a bigger picture overview of what the program consists of and then talk in a lot more detail about the application process and share some tips for the application process. We are going to take questions throughout the webinar and towards the end, so feel free to type your questions and we'll get to them as we cover each of the different topics. Just a few reminders, please make sure to mute your phones, your laptops, so there's no background noise. Feel free to use the chat box, as I said before, and address your questions to everyone. All right, so I'll give a little background on what the Sloan Fellows MBA program is and how it's incorporated into the overall Sloan School and Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I'll go through what the different criteria are for applying to the Sloan Fellows MBA program. We'll explain how the application process works and how the evaluation process works. And then I'm happy to answer any additional questions you might have. So the mission of the MIT Sloan School of Management is to develop principled, innovative leaders who are going to advance management practices and improve the world. And with that, the MIT Sloan Fellows MBA program falls into the greater MIT Sloan community in its ability to equip principled, innovative leaders with the skills and perspectives that they need in order to transform the world's organizations and institutions. The Sloan Fellows MBA program brings to campus some of our most senior leaders, and the opportunity to study here for a year gives you the opportunity to not only connect with a cohort of Sloan Fellows, but also get to know and network with all of the other programs, all the other students in the other programs here at the Sloan School. All right. So the Sloan Fellows MBA program, just to kind of give a high level overview of what the program consists of, you do graduate with an MBA from this program, but there is an option. A handful of people each year choose to pursue a thesis, and if you pursue a thesis, that will allow you to graduate with a Master of Science in Management or a Master of Science in Management of Technology. And the thesis usually would take up 2 to 3 electives of your time, typically in the spring semester. Oftentimes a thesis is an option that possibly an entrepreneur or someone who has more of a research background might pursue. But generally speaking, only a small number of students complete the thesis option each year. This is a rigorous data-driven program. There's certainly a general management and leadership component, but the program is really designed to give you all of the core competencies and characteristics that you would earn in any MBA program, but it also delivers that content in an accelerated pace due to the fact that you have so many years of experience coming in. You'll find that over the 12-month program, there's 3 semesters, and you do have quite a bit of ability to customize your curriculum to meet what your specific kind of objectives are with the program. We'll talk a little bit more detail about that coming up. As a student of the MIT Sloan Fellows program, you have access to all of MIT. You have access to all the labs, all of the research centers, student organizations, clubs, conferences, hackathons, you name it. You are an MIT student and have access to it all. And this program is really an opportunity for mid to senior level executives to come to MIT for a full year to unplug from your normal professional life and fully immerse yourself in a dynamic fellows community. Each year we bring in between 105 and 120 students who are incredibly diverse, yet very accomplished. And it's a unique opportunity for those students to take a deep dive into an academic and professional skill building experience. So just to give you some general data on what the class profile looks like. So the current class of 2020 consists of 104 students. It's incredibly international. As you can see here, 78% of the students in the program were born outside of the United States. And the class represents 37 different countries. On average, the class has about 14 years of experience, although the range is between 9 and about 24 years. So it's an incredibly, again, incredibly diverse, accomplished group of individuals who are coming at, at a minimum of a kind of director level type of role, but people who are really looking to take a deep dive to build skills in a certain area in order to allow them to reach a more advanced executive level. All right, so who is the ideal candidate for our Sloan Fellows MBA program? In general, these are some of the characteristics that we're looking for. Typically, we look for a minimum of 10 years of experience. That would be full-time work experience. So full-time work experience after earning an undergraduate degree. So an undergraduate degree is required and, give or take a minimum of 10 years of full-time work experience. We are also looking for evidence of leadership and management experience. So that would be examples of situations where you've led teams, where you've had direct reports, possibly you're managing multiple teams. We're looking for you to have experience in leadership skills so that you can bring those experiences to the classroom to create a more dynamic learning environment. We are committed to a global audience and a global perspective. And as you can see from before, this is an incredibly diverse program with students representing many different countries, having worked, studied, grown up in all different areas. And when you're sitting in the classroom in the Sloan Fellows MBA program, you really have a very global mindset. There are students who are able to contribute points of view from every continent. We're looking for students who are interested in pushing boundaries, who are interested in challenging the status quo, who are intellectually curious. This is communicated to us through the path that you've taken to reach this point, so through your career path to date, but also through some of the activities and other areas you may be involved with. We would learn a little bit more about that through your professional experience, through your resume, and then certainly through the interview process, which we'll get a little bit more detail about coming up. So again, we're looking for students who are quant comfortable, is how we like to put it. But this is MIT. You are going to be taking classes that are quantitative in nature. There are going to be problem sets. There's a lot of data analysis. We're looking for students who are comfortable with numbers, who are comfortable with the different aspects of the quantitative nature of the classes here. So how do we assess that, and what do we mean by that? We'll get to that with the application components, but we want you to come here and succeed and not struggle with the quantitative aspects of some of the electives you're taking. So, we are looking for a reasonable set of skills that would be demonstrated through your academic background and your professional experience. Communicating in English is quite important. So although we have many international students, English language ability is critical to succeed in this program. And then we are interested, most importantly, in a cohort of students who are willing to really immerse themselves in the program here, commit to a year of learning and self-improvement. We're looking for individuals who, no matter how successful they've been to date, are willing to sort of peel back a little bit of those accomplishments and really take a deep dive and understanding that they're not the most successful person in the room anymore, and they're looking to sort of collaborate on a team of individuals who are all equally successful. Okay, so here are some overall general tips for the admissions process. When we're reviewing your application, we're looking for you to demonstrate evidence of an innovative and global perspective. We're looking for evidence in the leadership capabilities you've had, and then also evidence of this through the different experiences or geographic diversity that you've maybe been working in throughout your career. So we're looking for appreciation of different points of view. We're giving you opportunities to provide examples of this through several different aspects. So through the cover letter, through your letters of recommendation, through your resume, we can see kind of the path and the geographic locations that you've been a part of. Remember, we are always looking for reasons to admit you. So please make sure to highlight for us in your application the things that you feel are your biggest accomplishments or your biggest success stories. There's a few different aspects of the application you can use to highlight these things, but we're looking for examples certainly from your resume for you to highlight the big impact things in your cover letter, possibly also highlight things in the video statement. And it's always nice when your recommendation letter provides examples to back up some of the other things that you've been highlighting for us in the application. Think carefully about why you want to attend our program. What is it about the Sloan Fellows MBA program that makes it the right match for you? This is a unique experience. There's not too many programs out there like this. And we want you to come here and be fully committed to the deep dive, the 12-month immersed program. We're looking for you to sell us on why the Sloan Fellows MBA experience is a great match for your career goals. And then, this is just goes without saying, but be sure to answer the questions that we're asking in the application. We're asking for specific data points so that they can correlate to our assessment model, and it helps you if you can speak specifically and give us details to back up all of the different questions that we're asking. And finally, the bottom line is this is your story. We really want you to be authentic. When you're putting together your application, have other people review it and let you know, does this sound and feel like who you really are? Is it genuine? Don't tell us what you think we want to hear. We want to hear about who you are. All right, so we'll go over the application components. I have a couple more slides, but as I'm going through this, you can start thinking about any questions that you might have and type them up, and we'll get to them in another slide or two. So the components of the application, we ask for a 1 to 2 page resume, a cover letter, an organizational chart, which shows us where you sit within your organization, all of your past academic transcripts. We do require a test, so we'll get to that in a minute. I have a little more detail on all of these things. A 60-second video statement, 1 letter of recommendation, and then 2 additional reference contacts. So the resume is really designed to be a business resume, not one that's of an academic nature. And what we mean by that is it's something that should focus on your professional experiences, your career path, a tool that we can use to better understand how you've progressed in your career. It should highlight for us the accomplishments and the successes, and a little bit less of what the job description is. If you've done research or have more of an academic past, try to position your resume in more of a professional sense. There's some examples of the resume on our website. We do give some very detailed instructions. We'd like for you to include all of your accomplishments in reverse chronological order, and try to keep your resume to be quite concise. 1 to 2 pages in length is great. We do ask that you redact or remove your name and address and contact information just for security and data integrity purposes. So the next thing is our cover letter. The cover letter is essentially the essay. And here we're giving you a little background on what the goal of the Sloan Fellows MBA program is, and then asking you to share with us why you're seeking a seat in this class and what is it about our program that makes it a good match for you. This is a relatively short statement, 300 words or less. The cover letter is your chance to sell yourself to us, the same as you would write up a cover letter if you were seeking a job. The organizational chart. So this is a great tool for us to better understand the impact that your work has on a greater organization. There are a couple sort of tips for this. One, most applicants create their own version of an org chart. So you don't necessarily want to upload your existing organization's org chart because for data protection reasons, you should remove the names of the other individuals on the organization chart. Although keep your reference or keep your recommendation contact information, because we would like to see how those individuals correspond with your role. And then also we're interested in the bigger picture. We would like to see, the lines of reporting all the way up to the top of your organization. But, if you work at a large organization like General Motors or Google or Amazon, you can categorize different departments or groups with one square. So you don't have to literally list every single person in the organization. So you can be a little bit creative here, but ultimately we're looking to see where your group sits in the organization, who your direct reports are, any dotted lines you might have to other groups or other individuals. And it's a tool really for us to see the nature of your work and how it relates to other departments within your organization. Also, there's examples of organizational charts built into the application to help with any questions you might have. All right, so for transcripts, we're asking for you to upload all of your past academic work. So undergraduate and graduate degrees, even if you've taken courses that you've received a grade for that were not towards a degree, but you feel could be relevant to an MBA experience. So for instance, some people take programming courses, or they've taken an economics class or a finance class, accounting class, whatever it is, anything related to the MBA curriculum we would like to see. But most importantly, make sure when you upload your transcripts, there's an English translation. Both the original and the certified translation should be uploaded, and make sure that we can read them. So sometimes when the PDFs are scanned or images are uploaded, it's really hard to read them. If you can't read it, we can't read it. So please make sure that it's something that we can easily assess. We do require a test. There are no waivers to the test, unfortunately. So we do require that all applicants have either a GMAT, a GRE, or an executive assessment score. And so we find that over the last couple of years, most students who are applying do use the executive assessment or the EA exam. The EA exam is GMAC, which is the organization that issues the GMAT exam. It's GMAC's version of a GMAT for executives. So it's essentially an abbreviated version of the GMAT. There's a link here. It's all over their website. You can take a little bit more. If you're not familiar with it, it's a great alternative to the GMAT. And then finally, one of my favorite aspects of the application is the video statement. So this is your chance to introduce yourself to your hypothetical future classmates. It's a 60-second video that you will upload and share with us. It's designed to be, an introduction similar to if you were at, a networking event and you walked up to a table, there was a group of individuals there that you had never met. How would you introduce yourself? You may include a little bit about your professional background, maybe a little bit about where you're from, but most likely you'd share something a little bit more than what we might see on your resume or on your LinkedIn profile. And ultimately, that's really what we're looking for. Who you are, what's important to you, what is it about yourself that you think is important for us to know that we can't see in other aspects of your application. The videos are intended to be, one take, 60 seconds, unedited. We're not interested in lots of different graphics and icons or background music. It's really you talking to the camera in a very simple video. A couple tips for the video would be, number one, make sure we can hear you and understand what you're saying. Hearing you is the biggest issue. Sometimes people film videos outside or with something that's a little bit noisy in the background, and we can't always hear what they're saying. So if you happen to be filming your video somewhere that's not a quiet place, just use a microphone so that we can make sure we hear you. Okay, so this year we've reduced the number of letters. We're just asking for one letter of recommendation. We use a common letter of recommendation form that has 4 different prompts for your recommender to answer. It's up to you. Your recommender can provide short answers to the 4 different questions, or they can upload one letter that covers all of the different topics in one letter. In terms of who you should select to be your recommender, ideally, this is going to come from a current supervisor. So someone who you have worked directly for, in theory, more than a year. Someone who can speak very in a detailed way about the nature of your work, the impact that you're able to make, how you work with other individuals, and really what it's like to work with you on a day-to-day basis. The person should rank higher than you. If you are coming from an organization that is sponsoring your Sloan Fellows MBA experience, the letter should come from someone at that organization who can comment on the nature of your sponsorship. There's lots of specifics listed within the instructions page of the application regarding this, but ultimately the letter of recommendation should be someone who can share with us in detail details about your professional background, your professional strengths, and really how you compare to your peers within that organization. A great tip for this would be, read the different questions or prompts on the letter that we're asking. Think about, in your experience, who would be the best person to speak to these examples. Make sure that your recommender understands what the Sloan Fellows MBA program is. It is a unique program. Talk to them about why you're interested in pursuing it, why MIT's program is the best match for you. The more information you can share with them, the better. And then, make sure you give them enough warning time. So your application is not considered complete until that letter of recommendation is submitted, and everything is due on the application deadline date and time. So give them enough time to work on this, and be realistic with them about their response time. All right, so I'll kind of give a bigger picture overview of the evaluation process, and then we'll dive into the interview. So when we receive applications, every single application is reviewed by the admissions committee, which is comprised of professional staff. So members of the admissions office, as well as our career development advisors and executive degree program team. So there's probably 10 to 12 individuals who are reading all of the applications, and then based on those initial assessments, we determine who we want to invite to interview. Interviews are a required step in the process, but not everyone will receive an interview invitation. If we invite you to interview, it's an excellent sign. It means you've advanced and made sort of the first cut, so to speak. The interviews will be face-to-face. Almost all are done in person, although a handful can sometimes be done over Skype or video for extenuating circumstances. But we will travel to hub cities all over the world to meet with you. So actually in the application, you'll be asked to select a location you would like for us to meet you at, and we will do our best to meet you in that location. Of course, you'll always have the chance to come to Cambridge to meet us here as well. All invitations are sent with at least 1 week notice to the interview day. Many invites will give you more than that for notice, but because we are traveling to different cities throughout the months where we'd be interviewing, we do our best to give you as much advance notice as possible. If you're applying in round 1, we'll be interviewing throughout the month of throughout the month of November and early December. If you're applying in round 2, we'll be interviewing throughout the month of February. And if you're applying in round 3, we'll be doing interviews in March. All right, so, all interviews are conducted, again, by a member of the admissions committee. These are all primarily admissions staff members or members of the career team or program team. There's no outside alumni or outside individuals conducting the interviews. If you were to meet with me, for instance, for your interview, I will have read your application. I will come prepared with some maybe clarifying questions, things that I need to learn a little bit more about based on what you shared. And then the interview is a behavioral interview that's really going to focus on some questions that will help us to better understand the nature of your leadership skills, how you work with other people, how you motivate others to achieve tasks, and how you solve problems. Just a final note, if you do choose to come to Cambridge for your interview, you'll also have the opportunity to attend a class with a current student and have lunch with them as well. A couple points for the interview. So we do have an additional component to the application. If you're invited to the interview, you'll be asked to submit an additional short answer essay question. The essay question is due 24 hours prior to the interview. So you'll have a pretty quick turnaround for this. Once you're invited in the invitation, you'll receive a unique link to submit your interview essay, and that just has to be submitted prior to the interview. Typically interviews last between 30 and 40 minutes. Sometimes they're a little shorter, sometimes they're a little longer, but generally speaking, around 30 to 40 minutes. When you come to your interview, be prepared with some questions for us. So when I'm interviewing, I go through my questions first and always leave as much time as is needed at the end to answer any questions you might have. Be thoughtful about these questions. Make them questions that maybe you couldn't find the answer to anywhere else. And as I already mentioned, the nature of the conversation in the interview is behavioral questions. All right, so let's see what's next. Just an overview of the application deadlines. I already mentioned this before, but the first application deadline is in October 8th. If you apply in October, you receive a final decision from us by December 16th. The next deadline is in January. If you apply in January, you'll receive a final decision from us by mid-February. And then finally, if you apply in February in round 3, you'll receive a final decision from us in March. There really is no difference between the rounds. It's just the earlier you apply, the earlier you get a decision. So for those students who are not from the United States, who would need to acquire a visa to come study here, it can certainly be in your best interest to apply earlier than later. The visa process can take some time. So international students, we would recommend apply in either round 1 or round 2. Just as a side note, if you are not invited to interview, you will get a final decision from us earlier in the process. All right, we have some upcoming events. Just wanted to highlight, hopefully, you're interested in continuing to learn more about this program. So here's a list of events we have coming up. Almost everything we offer is virtual in nature. There are a number of on-campus sessions, and then continue to check our website. We do travel to cities all over the world, and we will continue to hold info sessions when we're in a different location, as well as over the winter break period. Typically, we have current students holding coffee chats or happy hours when they go home over break. All right, what kind of questions are out there? I'm gonna take a look here at some of the questions. All right, feel free to type more questions if you have them. So one of the first questions I saw is, if I apply by the end of November, when will I get confirmation of admission? This is not a rolling admissions process. We only look at applications who apply by the specific deadlines. So to go back to this slide, we don't look at any applications until October 9th for round 1, for instance, and then we won't look at anything submitted after October 9th until the round 2 deadline in January. So the question was, if I apply in November, well, when will I hear back? If you apply in November, you'll be considered part of round 2 and will not hear back until February 12th. And again, not rolling admissions. Is there an advantage to taking GMAT over EA? There's no advantage. Either exam is perfectly fine with us. I'm confused about the word limit for the cover letter. Is it 300 or 500 words? I believe it's 300 words. But if June wrote that, if you want to send us an email, if you saw it posted as 500 words somewhere else, let us know. Is it preferable to submit a 1-page or a 2-page resume? Either one is fine, whatever you think best details your work experience. When is the MIT Sloan MBA early admissions application process opening? Okay, that is a program that's quite different from the Sloan Fellows MBA. That's a program for current college seniors who are interested in applying for deferred admission. That application should be going live by the beginning of October. Do you know if we will be able to access this recording later? Of course, as soon as this webinar is over, give us a day or two and we'll post it to the website. could I share statistical information and general idea about the EA, Executive Assessment Exam, or the range? So last year was the first year we officially took the EA exam, so technically we don't have statistically significant data to share, although I can say in my experience, we're typically looking for scores that are above a 150 for both quant and verbal in the EA. But we do tend to see scores that are a little bit higher than that, but a minimum of 150 in each. Can we have an interview in India as I am in India? Yes, so we will be traveling to India for every round. I don't know the specific dates or location yet. Typically we travel to either Mumbai or Delhi. We wait to see what the spread is within the application pool, and try to go to the city that works best for the individuals who have applied. Could you let me know about the best way to get in touch with current MIT Sloan Fellows? Is there any student ambassador program in place for Sloan Fellow candidates? So the best way to to connect with current Sloan Fellows is to look up their bios. So we have a bunch of student bios on our website. We rotate those through every couple weeks, and they're posted there to be able to answer any questions you may have. You can also email us and the Sloan Fellows admissions email address, the same email you received to sign up for this. You could respond, and we'll do our best to connect you with current Sloan Fellows. But the other alternative could be coming here to visit. So I see you wrote Ambassadors Program. You're able to come visit or schedule a phone call to learn more about the program with us. We do offer a number of different options for that. It's all detailed out on the website. Let's see, some of these are repetitive questions. Oh, additional references. I apologize, I didn't mention that. So we do ask for 2 additional references. So this would be additional contact information for people who could serve in theory as a recommender for you, but we would only reach out to them if we have additional questions about your application. So this is new this year, but similar to if you are applying for a job and you are asked to give references, that's the nature of the reference contacts. Someone from the admissions committee would reach out to them via email first and ask to schedule a short phone call with them. The nature of the conversation would be very similar to the types of questions asked on the recommendation form. Let's see. I missed this, 20 minutes. If you came 20 minutes late, don't worry, the application will be posted, or I'm sorry, the webinar will be posted online. I talked a little bit about the average scores. If you don't have a current employer, what options do you have? Well, if you don't have a current employer, then I would talk about a previous employer, someone who has worked for you in the past. Of course, there's going to be exceptions to the rule. There's entrepreneurs who don't have direct supervisors. So use your best judgment when selecting a reference and a recommender, but we want to talk to somebody who has, kind of supervised the nature of the work that you do. Is there placement support? So I believe that is meant to ask, is there any career development support? And the answer is, of course. We have dedicated career development advisors who work with this executive population to help you with job placement. Let's see. Okay, the application website mentions 500 words for the cover letter. So I guess it is 500 words. I apologize. My slide is off. A couple of our other programs only ask for 300 words. So that must be the discrepancy. If the application says 500, it's 500 words. What are the scholarships available? So we have a number of different merit-based scholarships available for the strongest students who apply. In addition to that, we have a couple of scholarships that are available for unique populations. So for instance, endowments or donors have created some awards for people who meet specific criteria. So those specific population awards are detailed on our website. Otherwise, we have a small number of awards that are given based on merit, essentially to the strongest people who apply. Do we ever accept or permit deferred enrollment? So I'll say we're reasonable, but we ask that you apply in the year that you plan to attend. Of course, there are extenuating circumstances that could result in a deferred admission for a year, but we do ask that you apply in the year that you intend to join us. And if something happens to change that, we're happy to talk to you. And again, we're very reasonable. On the application form, I saw there's a $10,000 fee. So that is a $10,000 deposit. When you're admitted to the program, you pay $10,000 to secure your spot. You have about 30 days or so post-admission to pay that fee. And then that fee just holds your seat, and then it will be applied towards your first semester tuition. Let's see. If you're invited to interview in a location that's outside your continent, will a grace period be extended if you are required to receive a visa to attend? Of course, yes. We are definitely, again, very reasonable, and we try to accommodate all of your requests regarding interviews. We completely understand the nature of travel these days, and we will do our best to meet you wherever we can. And don't worry about that at all. Can you elaborate on your global focus as it applies to American applicants versus the high rate of students from outside North America, especially those with work experience is not directly international? Well, we're certainly interested in bringing in many different diverse perspectives into the classroom. And so that means there's always space for students who have had all of their work experience within North America, but we're looking for evidence of your ability to embrace diverse perspectives. So you could talk about that through, a passion for travel to other places, or, experiences that you've had with individuals who have diverse backgrounds. Let's see, I think most of these have been answered. I understand there is a campus event on November 7th. Can an interview be scheduled at that date? So yes, we have a preview day that allows for prospective applicants to come visit on November 7th. If you happen to be invited to interview, we would be happy to accommodate an interview around that visit, but you have to still be invited to interview after we've reviewed your application. What cities in the Middle East do you conduct interviews? It depends. Most likely Dubai, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the exact list of cities yet. Again, we determine the interview locations based on the pool of applicants. And so we try to go where the most people can meet us. Did anyone pursue a PhD after the program? Likely, yes. I don't have specifics around that. We certainly have several students each year who come into the Sloan Fellows program who already have a PhD, but I am sure it's possible to pursue a PhD after. What is your favorite part about working in admissions for Sloan Fellows MBA? The people here are amazing. It is a privilege to get to know you better throughout the application process, to meet you during the interview, get to know you as a student here. But the best part is to continue that relationship with you once you become an alum, and to see, how the Sloan Fellows MBA experience, how the Sloan School and MIT are able to really transform an individual's life and career. So it's really great for us to be able to be involved on both the front end and the back end. Let's see. Recommendation letters do need to be in English. If your recommender cannot speak English, just get a certified translation and upload both copies, similar to the academic transcript. All right. Is there an application fee waiver to the MIT Sloan Early MBA? Okay, that's a very different program. There is some many fee waivers available for the early MBA. I encourage you to email us, and I'm happy to chat with you about that separately. All right. There's lots of data on the website regarding career statistics, so I encourage you to read through that. This program is quite unique in that it does not have formal on-campus recruiting, because the individuals in the program are at very senior, diverse ages and stages in their career. So we have dedicated career advisors and lots of programming and support, but it's much more of a customized approach to helping you to achieve your individual career goals, unlike the two-year full-time MBA program, which has a much more formal set of kind of lockstep programming for different industries. because the nature of this program and the type of students who are in it are different than what a typical post-MBA job would look like. We have a more customized approach to that. So definitely review the website for more details about that. All right, maybe we'll take one or two more questions. What are the differences between the MBA and the Master of Science degrees? So the MBA is just a more generally accepted degree in the market. The Master of Science just means that you had less course hours and more independent study, which would then translate to a thesis. Can you talk more about merit-based scholarships? Is that measured by performance on the admissions test, or is it performance/career experience as a whole? So merit-based scholarships are based on the overall assessment of your candidacy. So that could possibly be test scores, unlikely not. More likely the nature and the success of your career to date and the strength of your overall application compared to the other candidates for the program. Is there enough electives to take both the finance tracks and business analytics certificate? So unfortunately, it's probably not possible to do both the finance track and the analytics certificate because you're only here for 3 semesters and you won't have enough time to accumulate all of the requirements for each of the track and the certificate. But the certificate is possible. The business analytics certificate is possible. I think there could be sort of a mini version of the finance track that you could put together, but formally or officially speaking, the finance track would not be possible to complete. All right, well, thank you all for joining us today. We do have a number of additional events coming up. You can see here on the slide, and we're happy to continue to connect with you and have you join us to learn more about the program from our current students. We'll be featuring current students on panels with a number of upcoming events, and they're great resources for you to learn from. We'll also have a couple of additional events coming up with alums of the program who you can continue to learn from. And then obviously our website is an incredible resource as you prepare your application and can help address any additional questions that you might have. So thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing your applications and getting to know you better throughout the entire process.